So, Junior, officially welcome to the Performance Formula podcast. It's really, really cool to have you here, and I'm very excited for what you and I are going to speak about West Indies cricket and your academy. And hopefully we can learn a little bit about how things work over there and what the work is that you guys are doing.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here as well. I think this podcast is a wonderful podcast, and it does a lot for people like me in the cricketing arena that wants to get the message out and to let people know that West Indies cricket can be alive and is very much alive just the same. And I'm extremely grateful to be here again. And it's good to hear.
Cool. Okay, so to maybe get us started, right? It feels very surreal to speak to you because you're on the other side of the world, in a country I'd love to come visit, on an island where the cricket has a long history. But maybe so that people know who you are, what you do, give us a little bit short, sharp, sweet description of Junior and your life and what it is that you're about.
Well, I'm Junior Catlin, the founder and president of West Indies Cricket Development Academy, non-profit registered organization, sports organization here in Jamaica. And I am also a journalist and a political commentator and also a minister in the Church of our Lord Jesus Christ, and an advocate for the welfare of less fortunate people. And I've done extremely, it is my passion and complete desire to see people rise from the destitute state that they are in life. And out of a result of that, I decided to form this academy along with some extremely wonderful people like Cecilia Dane and also Clifford Bissou, that and my wife that came along to help in putting this academy together. And I'm extremely grateful to them for coming on board, and also to our coaches like Robert Turner. And in the past, we had Sian Audley Ward from Guyana, and also Sam Karen that has a level 3 certificate from the ECB in London, England. So we are an academy that looks out and enhance young cricketers that nobody know about, and we brought them to the limelight like Joel Andrews and a few others.
Tell me quickly, if you talk about less fortunate cricketers, right? And I think all our interactions so far on WhatsApp and sort of how we've been talking, that's a message that comes really strongly across. You know, that it seems like, I don't know you that well, but it seems like you come from the heart, right? It's not a hit thing. It's not a make money, fame and glory. It really is just a thing of, I'm coming from the heart and I want to make this difference. So if you say less fortunate, like what is it that these kids or young cricketers, like what is their life like, you know, and what is it that you provide?
Their life is a life like this, where they are like Shamar Joseph that we saw burst on the scene against Australia a few months ago. And what has happened with Shamar Joseph is that he was given an opportunity, and he grabbed that opportunity with both hands. But the point is, why we talk about less fortunate cricketers is that some of our better cricketers are in the country areas that, and they are not able to go into Kingston. I'm a bit distracted because I was getting a call. They are in the country areas, and they are not able to come into Kingston to do training. And because of that, the world doesn't get to see them. So the JCA doesn't have the mechanism in place to bring these players that are up in the rural areas. For example, we have in Jamaica a parish named Manchester. We have Clarendon that my academy is located in. These are the rural areas, the deep rural areas that some of the tall fast bowlers, some of the skiddy fast bowlers like Malcolm Marshall, and we have very good batters are here, but they are not being shown to the world or to the Caribbean because they can't afford to go into Kingston for trials, and they only have trials at Sabina Park in Kingston. We have the Far Parish in Montego Bay. We have Hanover that some of our better cricketers are from. St. Elizabeth that Jerome Taylor and Marshall and a few others of our cricketers are from. But they are not being able and they are not being enhanced to go into Kingston to these trials to show what they have and what they can bring to the table. So what my academy exists to do is to look out for these forgotten young cricketers that nobody know about and bring them. We are hoping to raise funds so we can pay their bus fare and so we can think about nutrition for them. And also we can lobby for ball to help them to be better. Shamar Joseph was way in a country, in a rural area in Guyana. Somebody gave him an opportunity to come into Georgetown. He went to trial and look at what he had done to Australia. If we get the help here at the Development Academy so we can reach more players like Shamar Joseph, then we would be doing the world of cricket, a world of good, and also we would be helping to enhance West Indies cricket. We don't get any funding from CAA. What they told us is that they are limited with funding and they don't get enough disbursement from the ICC. And because we are a non-profit organization, we are left on our own really to raise the kind of funds to help these less fortunate. When they look on me, they said to me, Codlin, we need your help. We need your support. And out of that, we have had Joel Andrews from Antigua because of our intervention and people on the ground that we have spoken to and was able to bring him into Georgetown. And he came to South Africa a few months ago and played in the Under-19 World Cup and was one of the top batters there. We also have Adrian Weir that come down from the rural part of Clarendon here that we have helped to move to the top and to be recognized by the Jamaica Cricket Board and was picked to go on that same Under-19 World Cup there in South Africa. We have in the British Virgin Islands, we have Amari Hines that is playing in the Peter Handcuff competition and doing extremely well, representing Jamaica over there in that competition. So we have already started to produce players that can represent West Indies at the age group level, and that we know if continued investment is poured into them, they will be able to represent the West Indies senior team. So when we talk about less fortunate cricketers, we're talking about persons that just can't find the gears, can't find the fare, that are not connected, that they are not aligned with the big schools and those that have the money to fund them right through. We are lobbying for funding for them. We want to support them. We want to be there for them. And we want to make sure they not only represent West Indies, but they represent their family and the good values of this world.
Sure. What a mission, eh? What a mission. What a noble, honest, passionate. Like I'm sitting here and I'm a little bit in awe of you, right? Because I remember a time, this is way back, 1999, I think, West Indies toured South Africa. And they got beaten 5-0 in a test series in South Africa.
Yeah.
And since that day, since that or that series, I always thought to myself, if I could like make a difference anywhere in the world, I want to make that difference in West Indies. I've never been fortunate enough to go there or had an opportunity. My own finances wasn't necessarily in a place where I could pay for a ticket to go. Life happens, like you said earlier, before we started recording. We've been meaning to have this conversation for quite some time, and we just think, we move past each other. But I just remember, like, the idea of West Indies cricket, that calypso vibe, where for me, my understanding was always that in the West Indies, cricket develops in a different way. I had Jimmy Adams on the podcast way back, one of the earlier episodes, and we ended up speaking quite a lot about sort of structured coaching that is more in West Indies cricket now maybe than when he was playing, where it was very unstructured.
Yes.
And I'm almost hearing you talk from a place where you take care of these cricketers that maybe still come out of the unstructured environments of West Indies cricket. The ones with a flair, the ones with the difference, the ones that are not so packaged and boxed into a certain type of cricketer, that they still have that freedom of their expression. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. A lot to be said for that.
Yes.
Sorry, what would a typical day look like in these cricketers' lives? What would a typical day in those rural areas, like, what would a day look like there?
Gloomy, very, very gloomy. Many of them want to come to training because we are now in bed. And when I said in bed, in association with the Vere Technical High School, where we are based in our academy, because of the financial strains that we have. So we will engraft them and use their cricket ground, which is in a deplorable condition, really. And we're planning on taking it over and do whatever we can do to bring it to the standard that it's supposed to be. But to give you an example, we have Lionel Town, where I live, and up by the Vere Technical High School, which is about 10 minutes away, and which on average it costs around $2 US to get up there and another $2 to get back down. And some of our cricketers just can't find the finance to do it, because their mother have to look on, do I send my child to training, or do I buy food for him to eat? So now it becomes a decision where they have to make, because cricket can bring that family out of distress and poverty, but it takes time for them to get there. And so they now have to think about, many of our parents here, they don't have any fathers in the home. So when they come to our cricket training, when they come to the development academy environment, we teach them and we talk to them about what happened in their home and how it affects them. We call it mind power. We give them strength within their mind to understand that this is your reality. But if you take on cricket and take it on full, the frustration you have, take it out by hitting the ball as far as you can. Take it out by bowling the ball as fast as you can. Take it out by catching the ball as properly as you possibly can. And these are the things that we talk to them about, and we let them understand and know that there is hope in playing cricket, in taking it on full on. And their reality is gloomy. Their reality stays pretty bad. But if there was no West Indies Cricket Development Academy intervention in their life, it would be even worse. So while we are doing what we are doing to help them, there is a vacuum. And the vacuum is that we could do more, but because of the limited resource as it regards to finance and what we can do, because we are limited and we are constrained, we are not able to make a much more impact than we can be able to make as we are now. What is happening with these cricketers that some of them, on average, they get frustrated. Adrian Weir got up to play for Jamaica and later on went on to represent the West Indies at the under 19 World Cup. When he came back, a youngster saw him, and the youngster said that Weir was bowling the ball after his head. He picked up his bat, want to fight. So these are the things that they are struggling with. When one get to the height that they can attain to and the other don't, then a grudge now comes in. We have to take this player and put him into special and give him special attention in trying to let him know that not because this guy reached there before you, but the same road that he walks on, you're on that road, and before long, you will reach where he reached. So because of the gloominess of their reality, it makes them want to do harm. And because we exist, we guide them away from that. And we say to them, so we don't only intervene by teaching them to hold a bat and a ball properly, but we intervene by giving them an holistic development as it regards to their mental capacity in resolving issues and matters, and also to let them know that though you are poor and poverty, if you take out your frustration by playing the best cricket that you know you can, and take the training and the instructions that you are being given by the coaches, you can be a better man for tomorrow. You can be the best cricketers. Chris Gayle had an anger issue, Marlon Samuels, and a few others. But because of them being around the gentleman's sport, which is cricket, they were able to overcome, and now they are doing very good for themselves. We show them good examples and we show them possibilities of what they are doing. So we are showing them good examples and making them realize that though the road is long, if you stay on it, you can be the best cricketers that you can be. So even though it is gloomy for them, if they stick to it, then they can be better cricketers than they are now.
Sure. As you're speaking, it's like what I'm hearing is there's these real extreme things that are happening. One, their lives, or as you say, is gloomy, but there's like an extreme end of that. But then at the same point in time, they can find something within that a lot of cricketers that come from affluent places struggle with at times. It is that deeper meaning place that I can perform from, so if I am really picking up a cricket bat to go hit that ball to get my mom out of poverty and get my family to live a better life, that's so powerful if that is so real for somebody.
That's why Joseph came back after his toe was injured, because his reality down in Guyana, in that rural area, was so devastating. He felt the need to come back. And because of the realities that is behind him, and he is now seeing an opportunity which he know once he sees it, his life will be better. And he came back and bowl with vigor and take down the mighty Australian. This is what we're talking about. If we guide people anger in the right way, we can get the right things out of them. And that's what we're looking to do here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy.
Sure. Have you guys, if you think of the sort of the cricketers that you work with, I get that there's challenges, and I can hear that there's struggles. Have you seen success stories come out of your academy? And I know you've mentioned some names already, but have you seen success stories of cricketers that you work with in and out daily, and see where they end up, and that they're now in higher places, if you can call it higher places?
Yes, they're in better position because we have done extremely well in keeping some of them out of the world of crime and violence because of our intervention. When they leave school and they come to training, and after 2-3 hours of training, they're so tired. They go home, they're asleep. Their mothers stop complaining about them being out 11, 12 o'clock at night. And them being out like that, they intend to get involved with gangs and do things that they are not necessarily ought to do. And because of that, because we intervene, we are able to stop some of that. We also been able to intervene in such a way that some of them are having good CXC passes, that is the Caribbean Examination Council. They would get a lower degree then out of school. And so it makes them now be able to, when they look for a job, they are able to get it because they are now certified. So because of our intervention, not only in the sport of cricket, but we try to let them understand if you don't maintain a certain average, no matter how good you are, you don't have a place here. So we tie the cricket into academics, because if they fall back, if cricket doesn't work for them, something else have to work, and they must fall back on something. And so they can be the best batters, the best bowlers. But what if they get a life-threatening injury? What do they do after that? So we say to them, education as it regards to book and academics is very important for you to rock back on. And so we engulf in these youngsters that we have the importance of them going to school and taking their books, maintaining a high average. And because of that, we have seen where they get good CXC passes, where they go to evening classes after training, and where they are now better youngsters than before when we weren't around. So I can say yes to that. We have seen success stories, and not only in cricket, but in life in general, because not all of them came out to represent Jamaica or the West Indies, but some of them come out as persons that are now working in some of the corporations here in Jamaica, like Grace Kennedy, the petroleum company here in Jamaica, JPS, Water Commission, and many other small corporations that some of our youngsters goes out and work into. And we're thankful for these places that saw it fit to employ them.
Yeah, sure. That's from a personal point of view, that's so cool to hear, right? I can imagine that the kids can see, and we deal with similar stuff in South Africa with a lot of our cricketers in our town, what we call our township areas.
Yeah,
they have a dream. It's the same story. Not a lot of funding, limited opportunities, not a lot of game time. Yet there's a flair, right? And maybe not a West Indies flair, but a bit of a South African flair to what they do. Yeah. And one of the things that always stands out for me with those cricketers is how they struggle, and how things are not easy for them, and how the education is also important. So yeah, tell me, like, what's next? What's next for your academy? What's next for these cricketers that you work with? Like, where to forward?
We have been, as you know, in Pretoria, in a city there in South Africa, where they have the Global Under-19 Identification Tournament. We were invited to that tournament back in 2021, and because of the limited funding and the hardship of our youngsters, we were able to talk to our Barbadian counterpart and my good friend in Barbados, Norman Pickering, and he brought a Barbados Select 11 team to South Africa. We were again invited to South Africa for the Global Under-19 Identification Tournament, which we never get to fulfill again. And so what's next for this academy is that we have been invited to Sacramento Valley there in Sacramento, California in the United States. And we also been invited to New Jersey to play a few T20s and 40 over ODI games in both of these cities. We're also being invited to India to come and play some bilateral games over there. But to fulfill all these obligations and developmental tour for our youngsters, we are greatly in need of funding to be able to fulfill these. We also are greatly in need of gears as it concerns thigh pads and seat guards and wristband and gloves, bats, ball, to be able to, as we are having tryouts, to be able to, furnish these players with these important equipments, and so they can be able to contribute in the way that they ought to contribute. So there are things that we are greatly in need of to be able to go on these tours that we have been invited on. And I believe once we are furnished with these things, we're not only going to be able to help the youngsters that we have now, but we will be able to help the youngsters that are looking on and will come after these that we have now.
How would, if anybody's listening to this, right, and it's pressed on their heart to say, hey, here's an organization or an idea or a concept that we can support, how would they do that? What would be the way, what would be the steps that they need to take in order to help you guys?
Absolutely. We are on the Google. We can be found on Google at West Indies Cricket Development Academy .org, O-R-G, and we can be contacted by our WhatsApp number 1-876-853-9236. We also can be emailed at westindesacademy@zuzumail.com. And we also are on Facebook, and so you just type West Indies Cricket Development Academy and we will pop up on Facebook. And we also are on YouTube, where you can type West Indies Cricket Development Academy, and we are there also. So we also are on the PayPal hub, where you just type West Indies Academy and you will see us pop up there. So we are accessible by these, and as I said before, that our email address is at West Indies Cricket Academy @zuzumail.com, and our telephone number 1-876-853-9236. You could contact us via those means, and we will be happy to furnish you with information on how to help us here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy. And if you would allow me just to mention some of our players' name here that we have here at the Development Academy. And some of the players are in Jamaica and in the rest of the Caribbean. And so we have Dante Delan, we have Adrian Ware, Shaquana Thomas, Dare Wayne Dyer, Justin Walters, Orlando Lawson, Atwan Powell. We also have Rashawn Lewis, Henry Franklin, Ronaldo Illox, Javon Richardson. We also have Elron Glasgow, Dexter Barnes, Ethan Gibson. We also have Matthew Miller, Tenancy Francis, Micah McKenzie, Ozano Andrew Gerano Williams. We also have Abadullah Cambridge and Jordan Simmons. And we have from Guyana, Jonathan Ram Prasad that represent Guyana in the 4-day championship some time ago. And these are players that we have daily and weekly interaction with via Zoom and also on a personal base where our coaches instruct them and help them to be the best cricketers that they can be. So the West Indies Cricket Development Academy is doing its endeavor best to impact. And all of these players' names that I call and mention, they are players that nobody know about, but we brought them into the limelight. And we did it because we love West Indies cricket. We love world cricket. And we feel that once we intervene at the grassroots level, then these cricketers can be the best cricketers that they can be in the world and also here in Jamaica and in the Caribbean.
Sure. Again, I'm just like overawed with your passion and your enthusiasm. I really hope that through this podcast that you get some support, and that, you know, the fact that you and I can speak, and you can speak your passion and you can speak your intentions, that sort of the world recognizes and realizes the things that you guys are trying to do there and what you're attempting and the difference that you're trying to make, and that they can see that they can see that, and that they can feel that, and that, you know, the ones that can do. Yeah,
absolutely. And it comes out of a personal, you know, I came up, my friend, I came up without a father, without basic opportunity and things to uplift myself in life. Where I reach it because I made up my mind that I must achieve something. Now, if I had the help, I would be better. And so these youngsters, if they have my help and the help of the listeners of this podcast, then they will be best and better than they are today. We're not only doing good for West Indies cricket, we're doing good for the world, because anywhere in the world you go, you might buck up on one of these that you help, and they might be there to stretch out their hands to help you in your time of need. And that's why I do my endeavor best to impact the lives that I am trying to impact, because I know if I do it, I can make a better world for my children that are coming. And I can make a better world for those that are listening, children that are coming. We need to look far and beyond and make our world better than it is today. And we're only trying to do it through cricket. We chose cricket as a vehicle to help these youngsters. And that's simply what we are doing. We love the sport. We want the sport to flourish, but we also love the persons that make the sport what it is today. And the youngsters, Michael Holden, Jeffrey Dudgeon, and Clive Lyde, and many of these cricketers, they went to England and play, and it helped them to be world beaters. That's why we talk about sending our players on tours, because it makes them see other players, how they carry themselves, And when they look on them, they see how groomed they are, how disciplined they are. So they take back these principles and these values back to their home. They implement it in and around their community. And it enables them to come up to the mark now and to be the best cricketers that they can be. We expose them to world-class training facility when we bring them out to the state, to India, to South Africa, to England, and to many of these developed countries. Because we believe once they are exposed, then they can fulfill that deep-rooted vision that they have for themselves. Because when they look on other youngsters and see what they achieve, they're going to say, I can achieve this too. And when they get to talk to these players, they can draw from them their experience there, and then they now put it into their own experience and be better. So we're not only looking to intervene here at home, but we want to take them outside the country and make them to look on other youngsters and learn and draw from them and help them to be the best cricketers that they can be. West Indies cricket can rise again, but how it's going to rise again unless we intervene at the grassroots level. And like Shamar Joseph got an opportunity and made very use of it despite his injured toe, he came back. He bowled down the mighty Australian. The PCL come calling. The Sri Lankan Super League come calling. The BPL in Bangladesh come calling. The mighty Indians come calling. That's where he is in now at Lockdown Super Giants. And so once they are given an opportunity, we have more Shamar Joseph, we have more Chris Gayle, we have more Brian Lara. We're saying to the listeners, help us to unearth them for not only West Indies cricket, but we are willing to share them for franchise cricket as well.
Sure. Yeah. Junior, I've enjoyed this conversation, right? In a different way than I sometimes do my podcasts. I've enjoyed it not because I necessarily learned a lot like I sometimes do.
Yeah.
I certainly learned some stuff, right? But that's not what stands out for me in this conversation. What I think stands out for me is how people that are passionate often fight the toughest battles.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we're less of a person. It doesn't mean that we're less talented or have less ability. It might just mean that we have less opportunity. And
absolutely.
I really wish that the world wasn't like this. I wish that, and I'm sure you do too, right? In some way.
Yeah, I do.
That everybody's got a fair shot. That there's a way that if you're good enough, you get picked. If you're, I suppose in South Africa we've got other struggles, and I'm not initially talking about our racial struggles. I'm just talking about at times there's too many good cricketers in places, and you'll find that good cricketers stop playing the game because there isn't an opportunity for them anymore. But they're actually skillful. They might have all the resources. They have everything. And then they quit the game because there's just not an opportunity. And they're not willing to just hold on a little bit or maybe go a different path or go to a different place. And so to hear stories of people really struggling and still they're finding a way to commit to this beautiful game. They're finding a way to use the game to really not just make it about the performance, but to teach a life lesson, to uplift a life.
Absolutely.
Like, I know I don't have a hat on, right? But I take my hat off for you. You have all my respect and admiration for what you're doing and what you're attempting to do. And I really, really hope that somebody hears the cry and people hear the cry, and the cry is not a cry of anger or a cry of frustration. That's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a cry of passion and a cry of wanting to make a difference,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what it is, my friend. That's what it is. And I heard you said something earlier, and you're doing exactly that now by helping West Indies cricket in your own little way. Because the now president of the West Indies Cricket Board, when he was the vice president, he sent me an email and he said to me, Codlin, we're happy for what you are doing. And if we have more persons in the Caribbean that are doing what you are doing, West Indies cricket would be far better than it is now. And I am happy for that small word that he brought to us. And I am eternally grateful for the opportunity to speak on your podcast that so many great that have spoken on. And I've been very thrilled and happy to be given this opportunity to talk about West Indies cricket and what the Development Academy is trying to do to sustain our great game here in Jamaica and in the rest of the Caribbean. Because as you know, we're not only trying to do it here in Jamaica. We're trying to do it across the Caribbean by being intentional and getting people that are like-minded on the ground in these areas, having them to go to supermarkets, to go to other business places, lobby for funding, and to bring these players to the major towns for trials and to lobby for them to be given an opportunity. When I get to interview our selectors, I tell them about these players. We do it through videos as well, where we send video analysis of our players to our selectors and other persons in high places. And we're just doing our best to market them and for persons to see how good they are. And once again, I'm eternally grateful for this opportunity to speak on your podcast that I think a lot of listeners listen to. I'm just saying to these listeners, whatever you can do, whatever little you can give, whoever you can talk to, whatever gears you have, whatever finance you have, whatever opportunities you have, just about anything that you can give. It doesn't always have to be money, but anything that you can give to enable us to continue to make a difference in these youngsters' life, please do it.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's a great place to wrap up the conversation. I feel a little bit quiet, right? Because I feel like I'm reflecting quite a lot on what you said and how you said it and the passion with which you speak. Yeah, like I said, thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for, in spite of all your challenges, that you soldier on. And you contacted me and said, I want to come speak on your podcast, and I appreciate that. At times I struggle to get guests, and so I'm hoping that our time spent here has been worthwhile.
Yes.
And that the seed has been planted and things grow from it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm thrilled, man. I'm thrilled, and I appreciate it. Appreciate all the viewers and the listeners from the bottom of my heart, and from all the executive here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy. We are extremely and eternally grateful for you hearing our stories and allowing us to come into your homes and in your cars and in your vehicle, just about anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Thank you for hearing our story and for your help in advance.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day and a phenomenal week going forward, and that only good things come your way.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Awesome.